Australia, captained by Wally Lewis, only 3 of those players not from Queensland. Fullback Gary Jack, Eric Groth, who missed the first test and is back on the wing, and loose forward Wayne Pearce at number 13. The Great Britain coach Frank Myler waited on the fitness of the halfback pairing Neil Holding and Tony Myler before naming this side. Oldham's Mick Worrell in the unfamiliar position for him of loose forward. The subs, Mick Adams and Angry Gregory from Widnes. The match sponsors are Modern Maintenance Productions, a crowd of 30,000, and we join it right at the start.
Just about set. Of course, England must win this to keep the series alive, and we're going live to England tonight through Yorkshire. We'll be back with more of that, but it's on now, the second test. Roasted takes it for Australia. Canescu getting it out to Dowling. Dowling has taken play midway between the quarter and a half in Australia's end. Back for Lewis for the kick. Hanley gets plenty of treatment from the Australians too as they wrap him up. Defence going in. Dave Brown, the major tackler. Great Britain with the football now. Chris Burton will play it back to Skipper Noble. Lee Crooks. Lee Crooks looked a little slow in the first test, and that strapping is still on the knee. England decide to stab for the line. It looks like a fair kick too. Yes, it'll find the line. So both sides are kicking at the moment. The halfback, Neil Holding. This is going live to England tonight through Yorkshire. It's 10 a.m. in the morning there. And to all our English viewers, first penalty goes to Australia. To all our English viewers, it's a winter's night here in Brisbane, Australia. Temperature 16 degrees. Now this is Canescu giving it to Brown. Canescu again. This time from Liebling. Cooks and Burton doing all the tackling. Now Murray. Across to Pearce. Boosted. Now Murray again. Keeping the ball alive well, Australia. This is Borton. Borton's beaten one. He's to the corner line. Gets out of first tackle. Still going. Borton, a great run. Australia attacking strongly. 12 metres out from the Great Britain line. Here's Murray. It's behind Lewis. Picked up by Miles. Miles finally put down, still 12 metres outside from the Great Britain line. The long ball from Canescu to Lewis. Lewis able to keep the ball carrying arm free and still able to slip the pass beautifully for Pearce. Intercepted though by Mick Worrell for Great Britain. Worrell to the quarter line. And a pass back inside for Schofield. Well, the action coming thick and fast here at Lane Park. This is Drummond. 10 metres outside his own quarter. Now back with the Burton. Frank Myler anxiously puffing on a cigarette. Holding, able to slip it to Schofield. Now to Drummond. Room to move Drummond. Down the touchline. Good run of 15 metres. And finally the touch though. He won't be happy with himself. Well, Frank Myler's got a bit to say. He won't be happy with Drummond going in the touch check.
Well, he was down and he got the extra shove and they put him over the sideline, which was probably, in Sydney, that would have been a penalty, but he didn't give any indication of a scrum.
Interesting to note, too, that Great Britain last defeated Australia in 1962 here at Lane Park. This is Mal Meninga now. Big run from Meninga. Tries to unload the boast and he puts the ball on the toe. And taken over the line, too, but the ball picked up by Ellery Hanley. He's in in-goal area, still running out across the field and takes it out into the field of play. That's some good play from Hanley. He really ran right across the face of the goal mouth there to get it back into the field of play. Back for Noble. Going back to that 62 win, Great Britain had some great names on that side. Billy Boston, Alex Murphy, Alan Prescott. So a long time between drinks for Great Britain. 1962, the last time a victory here at Lang Park over Australia, but Australia lost to New Zealand on this ground last year. Play now back around the 22 area. Great Britain's into the ground as they send it back for the kick. Terry Bosted takes it for Australia and brings it just into Great Britain's half as Mumby takes him. Gene Miles is dummy half and runs from there and makes 10 or 15 metres too. Nescu gets it on to Murray. Good understanding between this Queensland connection on this side. 10 players, it's a record. And of course they have Wally, Fullerton and Smith on the sideline. As Meninga again gets the run. Gives it to Bosted. Bosted wrapped up by Noble. For our viewers in Great Britain, of course, Mal Meninga hasn't been in the best of form. He's had to fight his way back into Test football into this side. Australia now are only 11 metres out from the Great Britain line. Rescue. Back to Lewis. Up in the air high, and Lewis is taken down and hurt in that tackle too after the kick. Australia fumble it, and Great Britain have the football. Lewis still down. Lewis hit pretty hard after he got rid of the ball. Touch Judges in. Lewis holding the side of the head. Jack Gibson.
Well, I think he's going to report when Lewis kicked the ball high. He come through a little late on him and stopped him. And I don't think Lewis is hurt, but he stayed there to make sure linesman saw him.
Mal Meninga taking a lot of time. In the air. Waved away though, so the score remains 0-0 here at Lang Park.
Lee Crooks has left the field and Nick Adams is on. Well, that's a blow for Great Britain. You'll recall in the first test match they lost their halfback after 20 minutes of play. Now they've lost their front rower, Lee Crooks. 18 minutes of play gone. Lee Crooks off and Nick Adams on for Great Britain. It's Keith Rain. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Now Burton. Australian defence is good with Pearce around the ankles and Miles over the top. Now Myler. A dummy. And 8 metres short of the halfway mark. Now here's Adams. Rain to the halfway mark, and a punch has gone in from one of the Australian players, and the referee saw it. It's Niebling. Well, right in front of the referee, Jack Gibson.
Well, I think he thought he was fouled early, and there's an old saying, well, you're trying to get even with anybody, you never pass him.
Cross for Burke. Picking up with Hanley. Hanley over the quarter line. Hanley down the touch line, but in the touch as Wally Lewis came across in cover. But Great Britain looking pretty strong. Hanley questioning whether he went into touch or not, but the touch judge's flag is in the air, so there's no argument about it. So a scrum just 10 metres out from the Australian line. Be worked by Mark Murray. Gone with the feed. Worrell breaking quickly and putting Murray down. So no score with 19 minutes to go to half-time. Darrell Eastlake.
Australia now through Pearce, belting their way out over the 22 line and taking the ball out of that danger area. Pearce playing very strongly as he's done all season. Wild pass there from Kinescu. Been up by Dowling though for Australia. Tries to unload off the ground. Dangerous stuff. Back for Lewis. Australia's tactics pretty clear. They don't want to play it in their own half. Burke takes it well. Brings it back for Great Britain. Through the first line of defence too, Burke. Puts out a wild pass, cleaned up quickly by Mick Adams. Adams, of course, well known in Sydney when he had a stint with Canterbury. Replacing Lee Crooks. Noble, holding. Holding to Australia's half. Look to unload too. Noble. There's a little chip from Great Britain. Followed it through well too. But Australia come away through Mal Meninga. Oh, and throws a wild pass out that is still alive. And Australia with some room to move. Gene Miles loses his footing. Still going Miles. Still going Miles. Big run from the man. Oh, he's strong. Works off both feet too. Gary Jack at dummy half. Murray to Lewis. There's plenty of momentum with Australia now. Play midway between the quarter and a half. Great Britain's end of the ground. Murray. Get back inside, a break from Australia. Oh, a big hit, and a well wrapped up too by Burke. With the ball still alive. And Australia with growth, barging and bashing his way another 15 metres. Well, this crowd's come alive. Murray, Lewis, look for the runners. Pearce. Miles showing the ball, Miles. Again, trying to bust the tackle, but they come over the top and wrap him up. Great Britain with the ball through Adams. Well, Australia looked very dangerous then, Jack Gibson.
Well, it looked early in the piece there. He had a man outside him in Australia in that sortie there, but he missed him. And when they come inside, they brought across the side of the field, and he lost the ball.
Great Britain defence holding though tonight, looking good. Great Britain now play the ball right on the 22. Their tactics are clear now. They want to get out of that area. Long deep kick taken by Gary Jack. Schofield. Schofield comes back to get him though. It takes play about 8 metres into the Great Britain half. Caught in the dummy half, gives it on the Grove. Australia bunched at the moment. Lewis unloads the Konescu. Wrapped up by Chris Burton. Referee again has come in. The Lang Park crowd have their say. Lewis down again. Here it is. Here's the incident. Bang, there's the hit from Mick Adams. Again, an elbow used. Well, Lewis down for the second time in this match, and he takes a lot of punishment in the game, Jack, doesn't he?
Well, it was a pretty late hit, and the referee is, I think he's given a pretty kind decision. No, he's given him 10 minutes.
Well, 10 minutes in the sin bin. Keith Rain going off for 10 minutes. And this is another blow to Great Britain. Already they've had Crooks off. Now Keith Rain has gone off. Well, that wasn't the fellow that I called in the hit. Mick Adams was the fellow that put the elbow up, and Rain's gone off. Wiley Lewis, he's in Disneyland at the moment. He's really just in front if he gets the height and the distance. Eric Grove has come inside to chase this ball. He's standing right beside Meninga as they put it in the air. And that looks a better shot. And the flags go up, and Australia score first blood here at Lang Park. Australia 2, leading Great Britain 0. The Lions trailing by 2 points. Hillary Hanley out of 1. Wrapped up this time, though. Put some wild passes back. This is Mumby. Defense from Australia. Niebling wraps him up. Back to the skipper. Now they played one out. Myler gets a nice pass away to Schofield. That was a beautiful ball. Just good way. Out the open spaces. He's got support too. But take with a beautiful tackle from Gary Jack. Tries it up and play it quickly. Drummond. This is Schofield. Chips. Penalty to Great Britain. Australia caught offside. Well, this is a chance to equalise. The crowd not happy. Jack Gibson.
Well, that was a pretty fair decision. He gave them the last play, but they were inside the 5.
Clearly shown there as the chip went through. Australia well offside. Mick Adams having a bit to say, settling the Great Britain side down. The angle for Burke, not a difficult one. Straight in front, 22 metres out. Low-scoring game. Great Britain can equalise with this kick. There's been no drawing test between Great Britain and Australia since 1946. Mick Burke straight in front, 22 metres out. Round the corner style. The Lang Park crowd had their say. do his confidence any good at all as Jack brings it out. The defence comes to meet him. But Australia now position the ball midway between the 22 and the half. They're into the ground. Lewis. Nice pass again from Lewis. They're keeping it alive through Vorton. Then on to Pearce. Pearce out wide on the Meninga. Meninga with a bit of room to move. Floats it out for Bowstead. Bowstead trying to unload the ball, but Great Britain come away with it through Ellery Hanley. Both sides are willing to throw the ball around tonight. Pete Rain is back on the field after 10 minutes in the sin bin. Burton runs it up. Tough player, this Burton. Impressed us in the first test. Noble, dummy half. This is Rain now with the ball. First touch since he's back on the park. Noble. And they look pretty shallow, Great Britain at the moment. That was a shocking pass for Hanley, and he took it so well too to pick it up then. Oh, good player, Hanley. Busting out of tackles, takes play again midway between the quarter and a half. Great Britain's into the ground. Australia leading 2-0 as it goes back for Burke. This time not a deep kick. Just chipped it through, following through Burke too. That's up Lewis, but Jack has the football. Australia now through Eric Grove. And again they wrap him up quickly. Ian Maurice.
It's under 5 minutes to half time, and Australia in possession as Miles able to slip the pass away to Eric Grove. Oh, won't catch the big ball. Eric Grove is in the score for Australia. Everybody rips to their feet. Eric Grove, the man who was so dynamic on the 1982 Australian tour of Great Britain, is in for the first try of the match. The banners are up, flags are waving, and this is how it happened. It was Gene Miles who stood in his tackle and slipped the pass away to Grove, who was unmarked. A clear passage to the line, and he's in to score Australia's first try to take Australia to a 6-0 lead.
Well, Miles put the big play on there. He spun and he stayed alive. And as soon as he got the growth, he took 2 steps and he was in the clear.
An awesome sight watching Gary Grove coming down on you, and that's a fine effort from him and fine work from Gene Miles to set it up. So Australia leads 6-0, and this try was scored about 8 metres in from the touchline. So quite an angled kick for Mal Meninga. Just a pretty easy one. Hasn't been in great goal-kicking form this season, Meninga. Just a few paces. Watch it with us. Just swinging wide to the post. So Australia leading 6 points to 0. And 3 minutes of play remaining to half-time. But Jack, this is a much improved performance from Great Britain. They're tackling with much more venom. Mark Murray will feed it for Australia, so it should be an Australian ball. Referee Shrimpton trying to find a tunnel, and a penalty has gone to Great Britain against Tedescu again.
Well, he found the tunnel, but it was behind the front row forward.
And he's marched the Australians a further 10 metres for back chatting. So Burke will now find touch on the quarter line, and there's just under a minute and a half to half time, so this will be an all-out effort from Great Britain now to put points on the board. Noble back to Rain, Holding, Adams taking play into centre field.
Well, they've got 3 plays to blow the bridge up because it's 2 minutes to half time and they've got to get in there somewhere.
Noble working some run-arounds for Goodway. On to Burke. Hanley lost it behind him and finally into touch. Well, players running in all directions and pretty fancy moves, but it amounted to nothing. So this scrum will go down just 10 metres out from the Australian line. Again, Mark Murray to feed it for Australia. And again, as in the first test, referee Shrimpton not having a lot of success with his scrums. This time it's play on as Bowstead has it. And with only 18 seconds remaining, Australia will just use up these tackles, I feel. Dowling, caught by Adams. Now Konescu. The crowd counting down the seconds. As Dave Brown has it and takes the tackle on the quarter line. And that's it for the first half. Players leave the field with the statistics showing that Great Britain's had the better of the penalties, but Australia has had the better of the scrums. Of course, they've had most of those feeds. And the half-time score, 6-0. Australia leading Great Britain. We'll be back at Lang Park with Jack and Mike Gibson shortly.
In the first half, had the football for 21 minutes, Great Britain for 19 minutes. In attack, Australia have gained 65 metres. With every 6 tackles, Great Britain 52 metres. In defence for Australia, Niebling 16, Vaughton 15 and Pearce 13 tackles. For Great Britain, Worrell 14, Noble 10. So there you go, and players underway for the second half as Drummond brings the ball back for Great Britain. Takes play about 8 metres out from the line. Noble, a dummy half, looking for the runners. This is Andy Goodway, and he's had a pretty busy first half too, Goodway. Noble trying to work the ball, but Vaughton all over him. The little chip kick, so on. Beautifully regained too. This is Myler, he's got support. Schofield, just 18 years of age, and scored a try at City 2. Still going, and Drummond was there trying to link up with him, but couldn't.
Drummond didn't believe he could bust. If he went early, they had to score a try.
Well, Great Britain have come out full of fire, and they're using the back line now. This is Mumby. Takes the play to the 22 line. Drummond knew he had the ball and he only needed the pass. Better stuff from Great Britain. Burton. And they're inside Australia's 22. 6-0 the score. Australia leading. Adams. 15 metres out from the Australian line now, Great Britain. Can the Lions get back into this game early? This is Rain. Too much defence though, but they're 10 metres short.
England haven't got many backup players. One man takes it up and allows Australia to really gang tackle him.
Balls in the air, plenty of chasers. Gary Jack underneath it, but safe for Australia. Gary Jack pointing to the spot there. He said, sir, I took it. But the referee has indicated, Ray Strickland from New Zealand, that Australia will recommence with a drop kick under the post. Great record as Australia's coach.
Murray, Lewis. Probing for the gap that wasn't there. Mumby in to make the tackle with Holding just inside Great Britain territory. Australia leads 6-0. Holding won't get off him. Finally does. Lewis looking for a penalty. Now Dowling has it. 10 metres inside Great Britain territory with Murray. Held by Burton. Last tackle for the Australians. Lewis putting it in the air. Got hit by Burton again. Burke's made a mess of it, and it's bounced straight out of Burke's arms into Worrell's, and that's automatically offside.
He must have forgot it was half time. They run the other way before. He just took it 2 metres in front of him.
Well, Worrell's complaining, saying that it came off an Australian player, and well, Lewis got hit late in that tackle again. Hasn't been striking the ball all that well. Moving into it. And that one is hit sweetly right between the posts, so Australia increase their lead. It's Australia 8, Great Britain 0.
Hanley now, playing it back to Schofield. Great Britain need to use the big men and make the bust. They haven't really broken Australia's defence yet. the centre of the field, almost to the halfway line. It's holding. Stab kicks for the line. There's no one home from Australia's point of view, but it'll fall short of the line. And Eric Groth, the big man of Australian football, winds up out of one. Got a tremendous spin to swing. Out of two. Groth bucking him. Down the sideline. Ball comes down. It's a great defence then from Myler. The 5'8" pull him up and the crowd goes back to their seats. Every time Groth handles a football, he's explosive. Look at the fend on this man. Just brushes tacklers aside. It was one of the smallest men. Hanley got to him and tripped him, and then, of course, Myler wrapped him up and went into touch. Holding the feet for Great Britain. The Shrimpton blowing the whistle once again. Scrum was moving off the mark and turning. Great Britain ball. Well, they're not running onto the ball at all, Jack. That shot clearly showed just how straight they are as Australia try and reef possession back.
Well, he got the ball a little late there, that winger, but if anyone's going to do anything, it's got to be a winger.
Schofield with a nice pass back inside to Drummond, then Drummond looked to unload to Schofield, but it's rolling the touch. Well, Drummond not having a happy night. Twice now he's looked good, and he's put a pass away, and the support just hasn't been able to take it. There was the pass from Schofield. Nice quick pass. Went on to Drummond. Drummond looked for him. He knew he was there, but it rolled into touch.
Mark Murray certainly done a nice tackle on him.
Gary Jack. Here's some big defence from Great Britain then. Wally Lewis, a dummy half, gets it on to Dowling. Dowling showing the ball and flung down just over the halfway line. Score 6 points to 0 Australia's way. Great Britain have to win this test to keep the series alive. They've been playing well. The defence has been good. Just got to make a few more breaks in attack. Murray. Niebling playing it back to Murray. Well, the defence is up and they've gone high on Lewis again. They're really wrapping him up, giving him a hard time every time he gets the ball. Now look at Australia, they're bunched now. So Vorton says, I'll kick it. Hanley. Back over to 22, Hanley. Runs down though. Gene Miles and Meninga. Tony Myler is the 5'8", and he's the dummy half at the moment. Well, they're just running one out at the moment.
They're not going to do much that way. Australia's defence is far superior.
Noble, of course, likes to run from dummy half, but oh, look at that hit from Meninga. Oh, just hit Schofield and just pushed him down to the ground. Meninga having a great night in front of his home crowd as Drummond runs it away for Great Britain. Murray the tackler. Schofield. Great Britain kick this time off an Australian player. In they come. The chasers this time through Burton. But it's posted. He's tackled midway between the half and the quarter. Great Britain's into the ground. Dowling, dummy half. Back to Lewis. On to Vorton. Gene Miles. Keeps the ball alive, but this time the Great Britain as Hanley takes it.
Australia don't have to take any risk. They've just got to look after their defence and work their 6 tackles out. For England, they've got to push it now.
Well, there's 24 and a half minutes of this match remaining. Australia lead 8 points to 0. Great Britain are going to have to do something. And there's Holding from the dummy half position. Almost saw a gap. Well, he saw a gap, but almost went through it. While the dummy half. This is Rain. And they've lost the ball. Well, picked up by Miles. Just as they start to make some inroads, the handling is letting them down. Now here's Australia. Turning defence into attack with Niebling over the halfway mark. Caught by Burke. Able offload to Meninga. Now to Groth. Groth is caught and finally upended just outside the Great Britain quarter line. Here's Australia now spinning it wide with Lewis. Back for Vorton. Vorton over the quarter line and just ankle tapped. Australia really pouring the pressure on now. Canescu along the ground. That pass picked up by Wayne Pearce. Wayne Pearce out of one, still going. Pearce for the line. Pearce is in to score. Wayne Pearce in to score for Australia. Well, that could wrap up two players. Still going. Burt came across in cover, but he was able to get across that line through some pretty ordinary defence out wide, Jack.
Pure persistence. Wayne just stayed alive. He kept on going and going and going. Tremendous effort.
Well, there's still 22 minutes of this match remaining as Meninga lines it up. It's the view he has, and he's made no mistake with it. Beautifully struck from Meninga, right between the posts. So Australia now 14, leading Great Britain 0. Australia lead by 14 points to 0. Great Britain are hemmed in their own quarter at this stage. And this is Noble. Well, he's the player who's going to have to rally his team, Brian Noble, as skipper of the side. They're trailing by 14 points. The series is at stake here, so it's really up to Noble to make sure that this side of his hangs in there and desperately tries to save the series. You know, there are plenty of people who reckon that Noble's the best captain to come out of Yorkshire since Captain Cook. Well, I don't know about that, but he's able to inspire this run from Schofield. Schofield has got it back to Drummond. Drummond's got support too from Goodway. Across it goes to Schofield again. Schofield for the corner and scores! What a try! That is one of the best tries that you'll ever see. Wow! What can you say? And it started about here as Drummond made the bust, came back in field, had support from Schofield. That's the try scorer. Keep your eye on him. He made a beautiful break here. Turned it back to Drummond, backed up this pass from Goodway, and just went straight for that corner. Boset came at him, but he grounded the ball, and what a marvellous try that was.
Well, again, they got the ball to Drummond, and when Drummond picked up some yards, he passed it, was half tackled, but stayed alive, the same as Schofield did. They got a couple of passes each in there. It was a tremendous effort.
Well, 14-4. Now Mick Burke from the touchline. Looking good, looking good. Beautiful kick from Mick Burke. Right from the touchline. Well, that's rugby league at its very, very best. A superlative try, and what a goal this was from the touchline. It never looked like missing. Magnificent effort.
They had a little interference there, but it's quite time again for Australia here.
This is Fortin. Well, he's trying to run up the middle now, the big Australian. Pierce. Ikonescu charges at the line, but the Great Britain defence is holding. They've got to hold Australia out here. Dowling a dummy half. Dowling. Oh, and a last-ditch tackle. Worrell having a bit to say about the Great Britain defence. A quick pass comes up. Jack just short. 2 metres. Penalty to Great Britain.
Nice. He's penalised Great Australia for Shepherd there. It was a Shepherd.
The Australian players pretty groggy in the background. There is Great Britain now. Bring it out. Adams will play it only 9 metres out from their line. Burton. Noble dummy half. A little chip over the top. Chasing it too. And on the toe. Gary Jack now going back for Australia. Takes it cleanly. He brings it back to the halfway line. Still going Gary Jack. A good run from the Australian fullback as he brings play back midway between the quarter and a half. Great Britain's into the ground. Australia on the attack. This is Dowling. On to Pearce. Pearce still going. Out of one, out of two. Pearce straightens up almost to the 22. Rescue dummy half. Lewis. Stretching it wide, Australia. Gene Miles. Wally Fullerton Smith for Australia warming up on the sideline. Growth. Little run around with Growth again. And takes play just inside the 22. The shoe's thrown away then. Murray on to Lewis. Lewis with a floater out for Bowstead, but he couldn't take it. He tried to put the boot with it and throw it a touch. Lewis not too happy with that.
Now Dave Brown is leading the field for Australia. Wally Fullerton Smith is on. Look at that eye. Scrum won by Great Britain. Myler. Caught by Lewis. The penalty's gone to Great Britain. It's against Lewis. Not allowing Myler to play the ball. Myler's got a bit to say. So the free kick now for Great Britain, just short of the halfway mark. Australia leads by 14 points to 6. This is good way. Right on the halfway line. Now Myler. Holding. Mumby. Caught by Pearce, having a marvellous game, Pearce. That's Dave Brown, very nasty eye injury. Now it's back with Eric Growth. Invariably beats the first defence. And there he goes again, straight through two defenders. It's Fullerton Smith, the replacement forward in the Australian side. Canescu and Dowling, Meninga. Now with Murray, Liebling. Liebling straight through to the corner line. Looks for support. Lewis is there with him. Lewis trying to stand in the tackle. No support there for him. And Lewis getting plenty for his quarter too. But he's almost to the line. Lewis, in fact, he's grounded the ball. And referee shoots and says, no tie. Well, that was an amazing incident. Lewis was just had three defenders with him. I was waiting for him to be called held, but he refused to go down with the ball. Watch it with us there, and all the defenders around his face. Drummond's given him one, and Lewis still able to make some progress, and very nearly scored this try. In fact, tried to put it down, and I thought he got it down.
He got it down on my replay.
Well, I'll talk about that for a while, but the referee said no try, but it's still on for Australia. As Meninga lunges at the line. Meninga scores! Take that, says Big Mal. Well, I think it's justice, because I'm sure that the Wally Lewis scored the try before. And the crowd rising to applaud Mal Meninga. From this scrum, watch it with us. With a play the ball was to Jack. A simple pass to Meninga using brute strength straight through Myler. And able over for a very easy try.
No, they're playing terrific, Australia. He just battered himself in there, Mal, and took it easy. And then he took a late shot in the back, too, which, if that's not a 10-minute sin, then you'll never see one.
Well, we said before that Australia had the match wrapped up, and then Great Britain came straight back at them. Meninga from the touchline, in the air and flagged away. So the score remains Australia 18, leading Great Britain 6.
Well, Mick Burke has gone off. Andy Gregory is the new player on for Great Britain, wearing number 14. Australia with the ball now inside their 22. This defence coming in from Great Britain, but it's late in the game, and 18 points to 6. Australia have a commanding lead. Lewis. Mumby takes it well. Beautiful take from Mumby as he brings it back into Australia's half. Myler has moved out into the centres. Mumby to fullback. Mick Burke on the bench. Andy Gregory, the new player, dummy half, then playing the ball. Right, let's come back. Great Britain had a try, and they did it very, very quickly. They've showed us they can do it. They scored a magnificent try in this match. And they've taken play midway between the half and the quarter, Australia's end of the ground. This is Gregory, keeping it alive this time. Now they come out to Schofield. Schofield wrapped up, though, quickly by Meninga. Meninga being strong and powerful tonight. Drummond. Good way. He's tried hard. This is the changeover in the match. Well, they flicked it back. They put it in the air. Taken by Bosted. He gets it on to Jack. Gene Miles. Bench wrapped up. They're trying to take Australia ball and all now, and that's probably the only way they're going to contain this side as Borton has a run. Oh, and some big defence on Borton, but the Australians are keen to break these tackles, Jack, aren't they? They get wrapped up and they're still running.
Well, England have missed some tackles. They've blotted their defence a little. But all in all, they played terrific too. Australia's been far too good of them.
Burton, one of the best forwards for Great Britain, is holding his hip. Let's hope that injury's not too bad. Gregory. Good. Holding will play it. Back to Noble. Holding. To Gregory. Gregory dancing around the little man. Still short of the halfway line, though. Again, they put it in the air. Bosted coming back, and Gary Jack, but that's a good kick from Great Britain. That'll put play right down inside the 22. An excellent kick. Adams was the kicker, and it was an excellent kick too. Adams had a look, saw that the winger was up, and the fullback Gary Jack was out of position. Slammed the ball down and picked up 60 metres for Great Britain. Australia through Murray will feed this scrum. 15 metres out from the Australian line. Australia ball. Worrell attacking. Lewis looking for Pearce. Pearce buffing him again, Wayne Pearce. Having a great game. One down though, just short of the halfway line. G. Miles at dummy half. Out to Lewis. On to Murray. Out they go wide. This is Borton. Borton juggles the ball. Still going, Borton. Niebling. Gregory certainly in a lot of defence since he's come on the field. A little bit of push and shove going on.
No good holding them down. What England need is time, and while they hold them down, the clock's ticking away.
Quick hands in from Lewis as he got it on to Miles. Rain the tackle, fifth tackle for Australia. There's a kick from Wally Lewis. He's been put down again, and it's on. Both sides have come in. Wally Lewis has been down. Both sides are in. Gary Jack was in there. Punch has been thrown. Thornton Smith. Schofield trying to work. Fully, Great Britain players back. It's still going on though. Oh, look at Dowling. Dowling's throwing a big right. Robert Test has shown plenty of fire. Let's have a look at how that all started, because Dowling really wanted to go on with it. There's Lewis. The kick was gone, and it was Rain that come over the top. He didn't miss Lewis. Lewis went down hard. Now both sets of players coming as the Australians come in over the incident of Wally Lewis. Well, the crowd singing out off. Looks like Rain. Sinbin, is it? 10 minutes in the first half, but he's off for 5. Well, he shouldn't have gone off in the first half, but he's certainly gone off this time.
That's the lightest sentences that he'll ever get me five.
Well, they certainly sorted this fellow out tonight. They've given him plenty, and he's come back for more, Wally Lewis. With 4.5 minutes of this game remaining, Australia leads 18-6.
Well, I still don't give any credit to Gary Jack. He jumped in there for nothing. That was unnecessary. Nitpicking, trying to get his weight felt.
Okay, Australia looking for another try with Lewis getting it away to Pearce again. Got support from Jack. He's put it down, Jack. Picked up by Burton for Great Britain and passing in the in-goal area, but the referee's hold of play. There's a Great Britain player down. Well, I must confess I didn't see what happened then, but the Great Britain players are having plenty to say about that. It's the captain, Brian Noble, who's down. Judges in to report an incident. Let's have a look. Watch for number 9 for Great Britain to see what happened to him. There he is with Lewis. And Lewis may have given him some. Well, certainly Noble came high at Lewis, and Lewis lifted his elbow. But the referee has given a penalty to Great Britain before this scrum's gone down. Lewis thinks it's pretty funny. With these fellas, Jack.
Well, they're getting very excited. 3 minutes to go.
I only got laugh if somebody came up beat my head all the time. Anyway, now here's Nick Adams taking it up for Great Britain.
The only thing I can say, the game's over, but the fight mightn't be.
Well, Paul Borton went into that tackle. He hasn't moved. And now Andy Goodway now making another bust. Comes to Jack. Jack held him. 10 minutes of this test match. Now Great Britain starting to throw it around with more conviction than they've probably shown in this half. This is Myler. Myler's lost it. Picked up by Steve Mortimer. Steve Mortimer on for Australia. Mark Murray, I believe, has left the field. Now penalty to Australia. Still, Paul Borton is down receiving attention back near the Great Britain quarter line. Here's what happened to Borton. And he copped an elbow in there. It may have been accidental, that elbow. And here's Dowling now, back with play, taking it over the halfway mark. Borton to his feet, very groggy. Thiebling's lost it. Picked up by Fullerton Smith, 6 tackles to go. It's with Lewis. Now it's with Miles. Well, Borton's coming to the sideline. He certainly got an elbow when he went in to tackle Adams, but I'm not certain that it was deliberate. I must say that. Here's Lewis putting the ball high in the air for Mumby. Mumby playing at fullback now. He's made a mess of it, Mumby. Mortimer can't pick it up. Neither can Canescu. Well, the referee will put a scrum down. Another Great Britain player now. I thought he would have put a scrum down, but he's playing some kind of advantage. Penalty now to Great Britain. Well, less than a minute to play, and Jack, there's been more happening in this 10 minutes than the whole match.
Well, I think England don't need to feel a bit. They could see they weren't going to win, and they'll let them. I didn't think they handled it any good at all. Up till then, they were playing fine. Australia were a better team than them, but they were playing fine. But I think they blew it. They were both teams.
Oh, it's desperately trying to put another try on the board, the Great Britain side, but there's only 30 seconds remaining. This is Andy Goodway. Played pretty strong, I think, Goodway for the Great Britain side. Now Noble, inching towards that halfway mark. Gregory's gone without it. Picked up by Mumby. Crowd starting to count the seconds down. The final seconds of this test match. Siren sounds. Gregory's kicked it.